Guys, I'm really struggling with this one. I don't know what to make of this show anymore. I have no idea what the writers are thinking, why they're making the decisions they're making. There was so much about this episode that felt utterly, horribly, catastrophically wrong to me. So much that I couldn't wrap my head around or make sense of. I don't know where this is all going or if it's going anywhere good, but I'm getting a sinking feeling that the good option is being taken off the table, and for the life of me, I do not understand why. This was episode 9. The last one before the season finale, and any hope I still had that they were gonna stick the landing with this is hanging by a thread. The creative path the writers have chosen to walk, everything about it just baffles me. I cannot make sense of it. What in the world have they done to Rogue? They are absolutely butchering Rogue's character, so much that it genuinely feels like they hate her. This shit feels malicious, and all just to cram her into a hateful, miserable narrative that she never belonged in the first place. Plot threads are introduced and then just abandoned for no reason. There's so many things that make no sense about this, and it's looking more and more like they're just gonna awkwardly Deus Ex Machina their way out of all the corners they've backed themselves into here instead of actually dealing with them. Episode 8 ended with Magneto putting out a planet-wide EMP, frying the Prime Sentinels and all other technology on Earth. I had no clue how they were gonna tackle that issue, and it looks like they won't even try. They're very quick to gloss over the collateral damage and body count, which should be incalculable, and they even imply that there may be some instant magic fix for this problem, which is so ridiculous on the face of it, I don't know how that even made sense to the writers on paper. But this episode begins with Magneto pulling Asteroid M out of the ocean. Beats the hell out of me how that thing would be functional, let alone space-worthy in any way, shape, or form after Sanctuary Part 2 and the EMP, not to mention being underwater for several years, but somehow it is. You figure that one out. Storm and Forge show up to save Jubilee and Sunspot, who are backed into an alley by an angry mob. Don't know why they needed to. Sunspot could have easily flown them out of there. Why didn't he? I have no idea. Oh, and that's it? That nothing burger was the big epic 11th hour rescue you were saving Storm for? That you kept her off screen since episode 6 for? What the hell was she doing in the meantime? Not attending the funeral of one of her closest friends, I can tell you that. What a fucking waste. Scott and Jean talk to Xavier, finally calling him out for why he didn't leave the school to them. Thank you. But Xavier's reasoning is kind of bullshit. He says he did it so Scott and Jean could have a life and not feel pressured to follow his dream, even though they would have anyway because that's who they are. And okay, fine, but that doesn't explain why he thought leaving the school to a literal terrorist was somehow a better idea. And all we get from him after Scott rightfully throws that back in his face is a pathetic, yeah, I guess I f***ed up. What can you do? Well, that's not enough for Scott, and it's sure as hell not enough for me either. We're just supposed to shake hands and get over it after this? God damn it, what is going on with these f***ing characters? Speaking of characters the writers don't know what the hell to do with, Rogue wakes up from her coma. No reason is given, she just randomly wakes up. And that's really weird, because last week it was heavily implied that she was unconscious because there was something wrong up here. Jean was trying to help her telepathically, so the reason had to be that whatever she absorbed from Gyrick was messing with her head, right? Nope, no, she just wakes up like it was nothing and there's no explanation. So what the hell was last week about? Why couldn't she just shrug off that punch from Trask? She shrugged off way harder hits than that dozens of times. What the hell is going on here? Rogue was having some kind of dream about Gambit, which of course they don't show us because we can't have nice things. She wakes up all confused and Nightcrawler tells her that Trask survived, which lets her off the hook for that murder, but then she goes and joins a genocidal mass murderer just a few minutes later. So I guess the writers won't be content until they've dragged Rogue's character through all the mud there is. Peachy. So the team gets together and lays everything out for us. Thousands are feared dead, they say. Really? Only thousands? Sorry to burst your bubble, dudes, but that's a fucking fantasy. A planet-wide EMP? The deaths would be in the hundreds of millions, at least. And I'm not sure how you science your way through this one, but apparently the Earth's magnetic field is dying because of that, and now they've got about 12 hours before its end of days time. But that would kill all the mutants on Earth too, so What's the goal here? Does Magneto just want to go scorched earth and wipe out every single living thing? I guess so, because that's what destroying the planetary EM field would do. Anyway, their plan is to split into two teams and go after Bastion and Magneto at the same time, because somehow Magneto has the ability to fix the Earth's EM field, which I imagine will make more sense the less you think about it, but even if he did that, it wouldn't undo all the damage. Any technology that had power running through it when that EMP hit is junk now. Power plants, factories, pacemakers, airplanes, computer systems, bank records, all of it is completely This isn't like flipping a circuit breaker, you can't just turn that stuff back on. But the way they're talking here makes it sound like it really is that easy. What? I have no idea what's going on here. And then it just goes from bad to worse. I was very glad to have a scene where Xavier talks to Rogue about Gambit. It was nice to have someone else acknowledge what happened to Gambit. God knows Storm didn't bother doing that despite them being such good friends in the comics.
Gambit, I know you better than anyone.
And Rogue is even wearing his trench coat, which is both adorable and heartbreaking. But then the scene is just about Xavier pondering whether they should have buried Gambit at the school instead of in New Orleans. And yeah, that was some bullshit, because they knew he never wanted to go back to New Orleans.
Gambit never wanted to come back to this place. I want to find out why.
I mean, Jesus Christ, writers. How many times are you gonna passive-aggressively undermine this character before it's enough? I don't know, but they're not done undermining yet. Magneto shows up talking a whole bunch of nonsense. Xavier's dream is dead, and you X-Men can come with me if you want, because Asteroid M is gonna be the new Genosha. And your guess is as good as mine how that's supposed to work, because as the episode just spelled out for us, in 12 hours, every mutant on Earth is dead, along with every other living thing, all the way down to the cockroaches. And even if you could fit all the mutants on Earth into Asteroid M, which you can't, how the hell are you gonna do that in 12 hours? Beats me, and it really doesn't matter, because if Mags even had a plan to save all those mutants, he never bothers with it anyway. Absolutely nothing makes sense about this. Nothing. What happens next made me so furious. It's almost to the point that I don't know how to describe it. If I live to be 100, I will never understand how they could have gotten this so wrong. Rogue decides to go with Magneto. She says that she made a choice in Genosha to lead mutants into a new age. Except, no, she didn't. She turned him down and made the opposite choice, remember? Then she says that she won't watch any more mutants die, but she's joining the guy who's about to kill everyone on Earth, including all the mutants. She does that instead of going with her friends to avenge the death that she's been grieving this whole time, the death that Lenore Zan herself said Rogue was determined to get justice for. What the f? And so, after rejecting Magneto in episode 5, she just joins up with him at the drop of a hat because what? She just wants to watch the world burn now? Right after admonishing Xavier for thinking of the X-Men as students rather than people, which was also bullshit after all the help he gave her in the 90s cartoon, she goes back to the guy who manipulated and took advantage of her when she was young and vulnerable instead of thinking of her as a student? What the hell am I even watching? This is like Jake Skywalker all over again. Look, I know Rogue is unhinged. She's grieving. She's in a very dark place right now. I can rationalize her dropping Trask off a building, but there is absolutely no way in hell she would ever do something like this. It's like they really do want to turn her into some dark, bitter, angry villain, and that's not who Rogue is. Even when she was with the Brotherhood in the comics back in the early days, she wasn't evil, she was just confused and misguided. This wasn't character development or even character aggression, this was character assassination. This scene right here finally solidified for me that these writers never understood Rogue's character, never respected her character, never even knew what to do with her character, despite decades worth of comics to pull from. She just surrenders to her grief and rage and hitches her wagon to the guy who wants to literally end all life on Earth? How the f do you recover from that? And the hits just keep on coming, because as the biggest metaphorical loogie in the face yet, Rogue takes off Gambit's trench coat, which she'd been wearing for just 2 scenes, this treasured memento, this reminder of the man she loved and acted like she wanted to get justice for, and leaves it behind. If you think that in a million years, a properly written, in-character Rogue would ever even think of doing that, I don't know what to tell you. Who is this person? Who is she? I have no idea who the this is, but it is not Rogue. It's not. She's broken. The writers have completely destroyed her so they could fit her into a role she never belonged in. If you know anything about Rogue's character at all, you know how wrong this is. So is that it for Rogue then? Is that what the writers think of her? Is that them saying that they never gave a rat's ass about her or Gambit or their story at all and just couldn't wait to piss all over it? Because that's what this felt like. This felt like watching another funeral. They're not even honoring Gambit's memory, now they're actively desecrating it. He would have never wanted this for Rogue, and she knows that. And now, instead of getting justice for him, she's signing up for a literal genocide. A genocide! Jesus Christ, Marvel! How do you look at all this in a series pitch and not understand how fundamentally wrong and fucking blasphemous the whole thing is? This made me absolutely sick! It's such a cruel, cynical, mean-spirited, nihilistic take on everything. I hate this. I hate it more than I can even put into words. Oh, and Sunspot goes with Magneto too. Whatever. Piss off DaCosta. At least he can stop ruining Jubilee with his mere presence now. Good fucking riddance. The remaining X-Men go to Muir Island to gear up. They get new costumes or old costumes. It's a mishmash of modern stuff, Claremont era, 1960s era. And I don't like it. Some of these suits are really corny in a modern setting. Scott and Jean in particular look so dumb. There's a reason why those designs have stayed in the past, okay? But I'm beyond caring about that right now. At this point, they have less than 1 hour before the end of the world, and Magneto is doing absolutely nothing to save any of the mutants who are going to die when that happens, by the way. So I guess the plan is to just commit genocide and destroy the Earth, leaving him, Rogue, and Sunspot to live on Asteroid M forever as the only survivors of a dead civilization. And not a single one of them is having second thoughts? What the are we doing? Why is Rogue okay with this? Why is Sunspot okay with this? What is Magneto even thinking? Thousands of mutants died in Genosha, so in retaliation, he's going to kill everyone and every living thing on Earth? Call me crazy, but isn't that much worse than what happened in Genosha? I don't know how we got here. I don't know if it's even fixable at all, but this whole thing made me so sad and angry and frustrated. I don't even know what to say anymore. Rogue is one of my favorite Marvel characters ever, and this story has ruined her, has destroyed her so utterly, I don't even want to look at her. I'm so fucking furious about this. I can't fucking do this. I can't. I'll finish the video later. I can't do it right now. So Gold Team, the team that Rogue would be on if she hadn't been replaced by some f***ing lookalike imposter, goes to stop Bastion, and Blue Team is going after Magneto to get him to turn the planet's magnetic field back on before all life on Earth, which includes all the mutants, comes to an end. But if they do that before Bastion is defeated, it's going to reactivate all the Prime Sentinels for some reason. Again, that's not how an EMP works. It's not like flipping a f***ing light switch, but who even gives a shit anymore? We've obviously left competent storytelling far behind at this point. Gold Team fights a fleet of Sentinels that somehow weren't fried by Magneto's EMP, because Bastion, being a technopath, can do that, even though he couldn't do it with the Prime Sentinels for some reason. Nothing makes sense anymore. The battle is great and epic. The action is awesome, but I'm so past giving a shit about that right now, so let's just speed run this thing. Storm takes on the Sentinel fleet mostly by herself until she gets shot out of the sky, and if the laser blast didn't kill her, the fall from that height absolutely would, so beats me how they retcon their way out of that one. The others fight more Sentinels on the ground, but get captured or taken out one by one. Jean fights Sinister, and she's doing pretty well against him until he activates some hypnotic trigger he put in Cable as a baby and turns him against her. Cable cuts loose on Jean with his telekinesis, so her fate is a big to be continued. Meanwhile, Blue Team goes to Asteroid M, where Rogue and Sunspot fight them, because how dare the X-Men try to stop Magneto from murdering every living thing on Earth? Sure, Rogue said 5 minutes ago that she wanted to stop any more mutants from dying, but apparently she's cool with that now, so f*** it. Again, the writers try to completely gloss over what Magneto's doing. Thousands of people are dead? Well, thousands more died in Genosha! No. No, boo-boo. Genosha was a drop in the ocean compared to this. What you did, what you're doing now, makes you the biggest murderer in human history. By the way, how does it feel to be right on the cusp of killing more Jews than the Nazis did? I wonder how your parents who died in the Holocaust would feel about that. Go to hell, Magneto. Go straight to hell. And oh, look at this. Sunspot and Jubilee face off. Bobby offers up a half-hearted apology for joining up with the psychotic terrorist who's about to genocide the human race, and he seems genuinely confused why "I'm sorry" doesn't instantly smooth things over with her. Oh my god. This character. He does absolutely nothing all season, gets the most unearned, undeserved kiss of all time, has a storyline with his mom I couldn't have cared less about, turns terrorist like it's the easiest choice in the world, and now he's acting like some lame-ass apology should fix everything? I hope Jubilee blows this dipshit out the nearest airlock. My life, what a waste of oxygen he's been. Xavier is still trying to reason with Magneto because he's such a reasonable guy, right? God damn it, man. And when that tactic shits the bed, Chuck says they need to get his helmet off so he can hijack Magneto's mind and turn the planet back on. This almost works, but Scott stops it because Gold Team hasn't taken down Bastion yet, so Magneto gets the upper hand back and he's about to kill Xavier until Wolverine finally does the most cathartic thing in the entire season, the thing I've been begging and pleading for someone to do this whole time, and just pops his claws and skewers the son of a bitch.
Go to hell, you old bastard.
Thank you, Wolverine. Now, real quick, get the EM field restored and then put that POS out of my misery already. But no, we really can't have any nice things at all. And because sending a guy with metal bones after a dude who controls magnetism was such a brilliant tactical move, Magneto leeches all the adamantium out of Logan's body, to be continued. So basically, every single character is either dead, dying, or up shit creek right now. I haven't got a clue how you wrap this up. Maybe that's what finally makes Rogue realize that she's kinda thrown her lot in with a psychotic genocidal maniac and she tries to beat some sense into him? I mean, it wouldn't redeem Rogue for this, but it would be something. But because the writers are a bunch of nihilistic assholes who seem dead set on forcing Rogue into the Colossus role in Fatal Attractions, despite it making no goddamn sense at all, instead of the Rogue role where she was trying to stop Magneto, I think it's more likely she just ends up staying on Asteroid M, changing the brain-dead Magneto's diapers after Xavier wipes his mind. This is the path the writers have chosen for Rogue, a path nobody asked for, nobody wanted, instead of the iconic and beloved storyline she had with Gambit in the comics and the 90s cartoon that fans were actually looking forward to. How the did we get here? I may be in the minority again on this one, but I hate where this show is right now. I hate where it's going. I hate all the retcons. I hate how it can't stop sodomizing some of my favorite characters ever. I hate how it's making less and less sense and the plot keeps unraveling for the sake of cramming in some bullshit narrative that the writers obviously never thought out. I hate how it's become so utterly, unrelentingly bleak and cynical and hopeless. Yes, I wanted the Marvel stuff to get more serious, but not like this.
Not like this. Not like this.
There's one episode left. Maybe some of this is repairable, but outside of a time travel reset, I have no idea how.
We have to go back!
And even if they can fix it, so much damage has already been done to these characters and everything else. What would even be left that's worth rooting for after this? Millions of innocent people are dead. The worldwide technological infrastructure is completely borked. Xavier looks like the biggest fool who ever lived. I never want to see Magneto again for the rest of my f***ing life. I don't even recognize Rogue anymore. She needs so much character surgery that it might be less cruel to just put her out of her misery. She's so consumed with rage and bitterness that she's lost her mind. She signed up for a genocide. She's insane at this point. Even if they do bring Gambit back in the finale like they teased, he'd be horrified if he could see her now. I don't understand how this is a direction for these characters in this story that anybody would want. I felt miserable after watching this episode. You can throw in all the cool action scenes and Easter eggs and nods to the comics that you want, but something very fundamental to the X-Men franchise has been completely lost here. Hope. Even with as dark as X-Men the Animated Series got at times, and it could get really fucking dark, there was always a message of hope in there. There was always a light in the darkness. That's one of the things I loved about it. And the comics were the same way. I don't get that here. I don't feel any hope at all for these characters right now. It's just non-stop cynical, oppressive misery porn. Even if they do find a way to win, the world will still be up, the body count will still be off the charts, my favorite characters will still have been twisted into something ugly and unrecognizable if they're even lucky enough to be alive, and I can't say that for all of them right now. They've just taken things so goddamn far at this point that how do you come back from it? Maybe we'll find out in the finale, but honestly, I have no idea. Thanks so much for watching. While you're here, ding that bell icon and follow my social media so you can always be notified when I upload new stuff. The links are down there. And don't forget to do all the other YouTube things. Hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll be back with more real soon. Peace out.